Hello everyone, welcome to the Winter Study Group for Introduction to Unity 3D. This is being conducted by the Mindstorm HU chapter. So what's possible with Unity? Now I usually show this video to kind of give you a feel for the Unity engine, but since this is a recorded video anyway, you can watch this at your own time. So where is it used? Unity is actually a pretty diverse and extensive software. It can be used for anything from architectural visualization, learning product rendering. It can also be used for biological representations. It's even used for things like augmented reality and virtual reality. So if you've ever heard of about games like VR Chat or Beat Saber, they're usually made in Unity. It's also used by a lot of indie studios to develop 3D games and 2D games and 2.5D games. So if you've heard of games like Fall Guys, yeah, Hollow Knight, things like that, those are usually made in Unity. Uh, Even I would say 50% of the games are usually made, mobile games are usually made in Unity, if I remember correctly. Other than that, if you've ever seen a VTuber, those are usually set up in Unity to some extent. It can also be used for motion graphics. It's also quite a lot used for simulations, developing simulations for different application areas. So it kind of has that engineering aspect as well. So what games are made with Unity? I just put them here to kind of motivate you guys कि क्या क्या हो सकता है. So if you've ever played Cuphead, Pokemon Go, Beat Saber, Subnautica, Hollow Knight, Fall Guys, Untitled Ghost Game, or like even heard of them, those have been made with Unity. So it's like a pretty good software to start working with. So what are the basics of game dev or like the general Unity 3D workflow? Usually you import your 3D models, your other game assets such as audio, video clips, or like 2D sprites, images, UI design ki cheezein, everything into Unity. Once that is done, you build out your game in Unity. Once that is done, you can build your app to the let's say Android or iOS devices or even Windows devices, or even like mixed reality and virtual reality headsets such as like the Meta Quest 2, the HoloLens, things like that. So it has a lot of platforms which it can build to. I think it also does web games as well, so there's that as well. You can then use different publishers, content libraries like Steam, etc., to publish your games, and people can then play your games. So there's different kinds of things involved in like a general game dev workflow. There's concept art, ke how do you want your game to feel like, kya hoga, like vibe kya hogi. There's game design, so things like के play feel क्या होगा, game mechanics क्या होंगे, win loss किस चीज पे होगा, things like that. मजा किस चीज में आएगा. तो if you consider like a first person shooter game, तो उसमें the game design and your basic core loop is about shooting and killing other people. But if you consider a game like Fall Guys, your main objective is to avoid the obstacles and reach the end goal. So different चीजें. Modeling होती है. This is usually done in 3D software such as Blender, 3ds Max, etc. So if you're joining that winter study group as well, so you'll learn that there. We will try to cover the basics of modeling and texturing in this series as well. So there's that. There's texturing कि आपका asset लगेगा कैसे after like being textured and everything. तो मॉडलिंग हो गई, उसके बाद टेक्सचरिंग होती है. तो इफ यू कंसिडर अ ब्लॉक, ब्लॉक पे आप वुड का भी टेक्सचर लगा सकते हैं, ब्रिक्स का भी लगा सकते हैं, मेटल का भी लगा सकते हैं. तो वो ब्लॉक किस चीज को रिप्रेजेंट करता है, दैट्स वेयर टेक्सचर्स कम इन. There's rigging and animation. Rigging is basically giving a skeleton to your object or mesh, एंड उसके थ्रू फिर एनिमेशन होती है. तो इफ यू कंसिडर ह्यूमन बॉडी, तो उसमें पहले स्केलेटन डलता है, देन दैट स्केलेटन काइंड्स ऑफ मूव्स आवर बॉडी. तो दैट्स वेयर रिगिंग एंड एनिमेशन कम इन. स्क्रिप्टिंग एंड प्रोग्रामिंग होती है. तो द गेम डिजाइन या गेम मैकेनिक्स जो बनते हैं, दोज आर यूजुअली डन थ्रू प्रोग्रामिंग. if you've used Unreal Engine, तो उसमें विजुअल स्क्रिप्टिंग भी होती है, तो यू मे बी थिंकिंग कि ये तो फिर वो बेहतर हुआ, मुझे उसमें कोडिंग नहीं करनी पड़ती, but that has its limitations, and visual scripting is available in Unity as well, so we may touch upon that as well. But I would suggest to go for like simple scripting, uh, because it's just more intuitive on a natural level, and we will cover that as well. So if you've never coded in your life previously, तो worry not, हम सब cover करेंगे आहिस्ता आहिस्ता. And yeah, there's sound design, तो हर चीज का एक sound होता है. For that there's usually पूरे sound engineers which handle that department, but we don't have those, so we will cover basics of sound design ताकि आपकी game at least playable हो जाए. There's lighting, कि आपकी गेम की लाइटिंग की वाइब क्या है, अंधेरा है या शाम का टाइम है या दोपहर का टाइम है, थिंग्स लाइक दैट. तो लाइटिंग इज समथिंग वी विल कवर. एंड फिर ऑप्टिमाइजेशन. After working personally with Unity, working on the project is like 40% of your work or 50% of your work, and just optimizing that project is the rest of your 50% के. जो devices पे सही चले, slow ना हो, अच्छा FPS दे, things like that. So we will cover that as well. Unity is also used for simulations as well, which are not necessarily like games, but kind of use some of the basic tools in a sense. So we won't really be covering that. I'll actually, yeah. So we won't actually be covering that to that good of an extent, but just know that it can be used for simulation as well. So what's there to learn in Unity? There's a lot to learn, but we will be covering these aspects. So the ones in yellow, which is the basics and navigation, software ko chalana kaise, game objects and components. So everything in Unity is a game object. Consider a game object like a jar. So it's an empty jar, it has no representation, वो कुछ बस एक चीज है. You put different components on it. अब mesh renderer के वो लगेगा कैसे, colliders के interact कैसे करेगा, things like that. So you add different components to that empty jar to kind of give it functionality. But don't worry if you don't understand it now, we'll cover all of this later. So the ones in yellow we'll cover in great detail. The ones in blue will generally give a small overview of those. So basics and navigation will cover like to a pretty good extent. Game objects and components ये भी अच्छी तरीके से करेंगे. Colliders, triggers, meshes, shaders, materials क्या होते हैं, ये भी हम अच्छे तरीके से करेंगे. Parent child system क्या होता है, global local coordinates क्या होते हैं, this is something which is very important, तो हम ये भी करेंगे. लाइटिंग कैसे काम करती है यूनिटी में, इसे भी टच करेंगे. उसके बाद हम कुछ हद तक थोड़ा बहुत टच करेंगे कि बेसिक प्रोग्रामिंग कैसे कर सकते हैं, बेसिक साउंड्स एंड ऑडियो सोर्सेज कैसे डाल सकते हैं, पोस्ट प्रोसेसिंग क्या होती है यूनिटी में, वो कैसे होती है, उसको चाहिए क्यों होती है, यूआईस कैसे बनते हैं, तो जो स्क्रीन्स में आप जिस पे इंटरेक्ट कर रहे होते हैं वो कैसे बनते हैं. तो विल कवर ऑल ऑफ दैट. अब यूनिटी लर्न इज द ऑफिशियल जो कह सकते हैं सीरीज बाय यूनिटी देमसेल्व्स के वो कैसे स्टूडेंट सीख सकते हैं यूनिटी. द इशू देयर इज के यूनिटी इसेंशियल्स वाली जो सीरीज है, इट्स ऑल टेक्स्ट बेस्ड, लाइक मोस्टली टेक्स्ट बेस्ड. तो फॉर अ वेरी न्यू बिगिनर इन यूनिटी, टेक्स्ट बेस्ड ट्यूटोरियल्स कैन बी काइंड ऑफ overwhelming, and वो इतना खास सिखाते भी नहीं है. तो we'll provide you with videos as well कि जिसे आप रेफर करके उनसे सीख सकते हैं. तो the text materials which we'll just treat as an add-on to the video materials, ताकि किसी को अगर वो देखना हो तो वो करना हो तो वो भी कर सकते हैं. And if you actually go through the entirety of the text materials in the Unity Essentials, so you get a badge for it. So if you ever go somewhere, apply somewhere, you can actually show that badge कि ये course मैंने complete किया हुआ है from the official Unity tutorials. So we'll cover most of the Unity Essentials, some of the creative core aspects, so shaders क्या होते हैं, materials क्या होते हैं, maybe we'll even touch basics on particles कैसे काम करते हैं, and we'll also touch upon some very, very basic coding aspects as well. So how the study groups will be conducted? Video-based tutorials will be provided to you, text-based tutorials will be provided to you. You have to go through the tutorials at your own pace. Again, we can kind of remove the unknowingness aspect of it. When you're starting out for the first time, it all gets very overwhelming. समझ नहीं आ रहा होता कि कहाँ से शुरू करना है, क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, कौन से tutorials अच्छे हैं, कौन से नहीं है. So we can remove some of that aspect. But again, it's on you to actually go out and learn these things using these tutorials. So you will go through these tutorials on your own. There is this document. So this document is right over here. Sorry, this one. Yeah, so this is the Q&A document for the introduction to Unity 3D. If you are doing a tutorial and you don't understand something या कोई issue आ रहा है, तो you can just place it on the Q&A document and someone from the team will answer that question for you if possible. इससे ये होगा कि you won't have to wait till like the live meeting time every week to get your question sorted. You can just place your question anonymously on the question Q&A document and it will be answered as soon as it's possible. Then we will also decide a common time slot for everyone to meet. Once these are decided, इसमें हम फिर Q&As को भी discuss कर सकते हैं, other कोई questions हो तो उनको भी discuss कर सकते हैं. We can find different branching areas to look into. So the more you guys explore, the more different ideas, the more different branching areas and discoveries we'll have. And we can share those with each other, learn from each other, and इस तरीके से सब और सीखेंगे. तो let's say someone goes out, they learn के ओ first person shooter game ऐसे बनती है, किसी ने सीखा कि ओ platformer game ऐसे बनती है, तो we can share that with each other. And फिर किसी और को अगर first person shooter बनानी है या platformer बनानी है या कोई बहुत अच्छा game design का tutorial मिल गया, things like that. So we can help each other learn in that aspect. So that's kind of what I'm trying to go for. So there's that. Other than that, throughout the 2 weeks, participants will either cumulatively work towards a common project or a project of their own choosing. So this is still under consideration. We may work on a project at the end. Yeah, we may work on a cumulative project. जो 2 हफ्ते में हम काम कर रहे होंगे, तो वो it would all be towards a singular project. If you want to do a project on your own, if you feel like you have the dedication, yeah, the skill to work on something like that, so you're more than welcome to go ahead with it. The project will be a soft prototype. It won't be like a finished game, but like a basic working game mechanics loop, yeah, basic working prototype to kind of show कि हाँ मैंने ये सीखा है, मैंने ये चीजें अब आगे बनानी है, keeping in mind the time constraints. So week 1, day 1 to 4. First, you'll have to install Unity. You'll basically install Unity Hub. Usme you'll install the 2021 version. I would suggest don't download the 2022 version because a lot of the tutorials are still for the 2021 version. So just download that. It's even more stable. We will follow the following tutorial for the first few days. So this is like a very basic tutorial. It's a 2-hour tutorial, so you can break it down into 30-minute chunks या 1-hour chunks. इसके अंदर sections भी बने हुए हैं. तो if I actually go here,
then we should.
So if you come here, you can now let's say कि शुरू के ये let's say 18 मिनट तक ये section कर लिया. नेक्स्ट डे पे आपने ये 2 सेक्शंस कर लिए, तीसरे दिन पे आपने ये 2 सेक्शंस कर लिए एंड फिर ये थोड़ा सा रह जाएगा. तो दिस कैन इजीली बी डन इन 3 to 4 days. If you guys don't need more time या more help, so let us know. We'll extend this to like even few more days. If everyone is like just done with it in 2 days, so we'll move on to even more better stuff, even more exciting stuff. And remember to try things out for yourself and not only watch the tutorial. This is something which we refer to as tutorial hell. इसमें बेसिकली ये होता है कि आप सिर्फ ट्यूटोरियल्स ही देख रहे होते हैं, आप कुछ खुद काम नहीं कर रहे होते. तो आई वुड सजेस्ट नॉट टू डू दैट. वॉच द ट्यूटोरियल्स, डू इट ऑल ऑन योरसेल्फ. 4 मसले आएंगे, ट्राई टू गो थ्रू लाइक डिफरेंट डॉक्यूमेंटेशंस to solve that. अगर फिर भी नहीं हो रहा, just put it on the Q&A या let us know in the WhatsApp group. maybe someone else can even help you if they've encountered the same issue and have solved it. So that's how we'll all learn, by helping each other, by learning for ourselves. So if you get done early with this content, message on the WhatsApp group and more material will be provided to you ताकि किसी की learning ना रुके. Text-based tutorials may be found at the Unity Essentials website. So there's that. After week 1, tutorials and videos for accompanying concepts such as game design, things like that, ताकि जो आपको सिर्फ Unity ना सीख रहे हो, आप actual game design चीजें भी सीख रहे हो. So things like that will be shared with you as well. So there's that to look forward to as well. So how do I get myself to do this? Motivation कहाँ से आई? ये तो बहुत मेहनत वाली चीज है. Consistent effort every day is better than short bursts of work. So there's this video, The Habits of Highly Effective Artists by Andrew Price. जो लोग ब्लेंडर वाला देख रहे हैं, this is kind of the same slide. वो बस नीचे वाली वीडियो थोड़ी अलग है. But this is a really good video by Andrew Price. It's about different habits जो effective artists have. So instead of like doing it कि मुझे एक दिन में 4 घंटे बैठ के ये करना है, don't do that. Do consistent effort के रोज आधा घंटा, 1 घंटा, 2 घंटा ये काम कर लिया. So that's much better learning and it would help with even much better retention. So do that, and if you have the time, I would really suggest go through this video. It's like a really good video. 25-20 minutes ki hai, so it's easy to go through. You can even watch it on 1.5x speed. That's fine. If you're still trying to find different sorts of motivations, तो ये सारी videos हैं. These are like different devlogs के लोगों ने काम करना कैसे शुरू किया, फिर what's their progress in 1 month, a year. There's even movies, entire movies made with Unity. So if we consider something like this is entirely made in Unity and this is entirely made in real time. So there's that level of quality as well. This is my favorite YouTuber. He's called Danny. He's a comedy YouTube Unity developer. If you ever get bored, I would suggest watch his videos. He has a way of making Unity very interesting in like a non-boring way. So he was kind of my motivation for using Unity. He may help you as well. So he's a really good channel to subscribe and watch all of his videos. So there's that. So where do I begin? Day 1, you view this recording. Sorry, it's already too long. You install Unity, play with it if you like to. कुछ खराब हो गया तो it's fine, just make a new project and फिर से शुरू. Accounts बनाने होंगे तो make accounts for that. For the Unity, find your motivation. You can refer to the previous slide for this. And for day 2 to 4, start with the actual content. So you can refer to step 2 of slide 11 for this. If you can start the content on even like the first day, I know it's like overwhelming to itni sare do these many things, but if you can start the content on day 1, that's even more amazing. But if you can't, that's totally fine. Start it on day 2, start going through a tutorial, start doing it yourself, help each other on the WhatsApp group, on like everywhere else, explore outside the provided materials. So branch out, look things on your own. कोई अच्छे ट्यूटोरियल्स मिलते हैं, कोई अच्छी न्यू इंटरेस्टिंग चीज मिलती है, कोई गेम डिजाइन, गेम डेवलपमेंट, एनीथिंग, मे बी इवन रिलेटेड टू जनरल आर्ट या एनिमेशन, कुछ भी मिलता है तो शेयर दैट विद द रेस्ट ऑफ अस. एंड देयर्स दैट. गुड लक एवरीवन एंड बाय बाय.